So no more than 5 on each table, please.
Would you like to move so you're facing the front to a different table? So you can move to this one here.
Can I ask you all to read out together the words on the screen?
I participate in today's proceedings.
Well, the session is built around a character called Joe Carefilly, and Joe has got themselves into some financial bother.
Can't believe I've actually got to go to court.
What we did is we gave them £1,700 and a series of items that they had to spend that money on.
Say you have a house and you've got all your electricity and gas, you need to know how to manage your money.
And we had to decide how much we would spend on each one and try to be as realistic as possible.
They say you need to keep within the scales and you need to place some money on all of the cards.
I thought that was quite interesting to see how we can manage money.
This was just a way to get them to think about whether budgeting was easy, whether they could make their money last that much. And in the start, they found that quite easy. What they didn't expect us to do then was to put a few things in there of the unexpected circumstances.
Somewhere in your budget that you're going to pay for a brand new kettle.
And they then had to look back at their budget and decide where that money was going to come from. And on occasions, that was hard decisions for them to decide that they didn't want a holiday or actually they were going to have to use their savings. And then we return back to court and we hear Joe's full story.
When I was 18, I got my first job. My wage was £900 a month, and I had enough money to rent a room in the house where my friend lived.
I loved all of the activities and I loved how the video was kind of built in to kind of support that.
Oh, hello, stranger. You are alive then. That's good.
You can sort of see how he's slowly becoming bankrupt, and it's sort of like you don't realise how easy it is to become bankrupt until you see it from someone else's perspective.
We wrote an activity in order to try and get the students to start thinking about the key terms that they should look at when entering into a contract. The students were then given 4 contracts with key terms in order to discuss amongst themselves which they felt that was the most appropriate deal. And that seemed to have worked really well and stimulated a lot of discussion and debate about the pros and cons of each, which seemed to work really well.
So I would ask the jury at this stage, what do you think should happen?
The class got asked who should be think what would happen, and I voted guilty because she was.
Guilty.
The last exercise we did was what we called the trust exercise. This was built around the whole consequences of Joe Carefilly's story after Joe Carefilly's made bankrupt. And the basis of this is basically giving the students the ability to take a look at some pictures of people and say whether they would trust them or not and whether they would lend them some money or not. They've got no information about them, just literally their faces.
Some people would have so much money and they would want a loan to go on holiday, for example, but you need to know if they had a good report, if they would pay back.
So it's really, really important not to get in a situation of bankruptcy and to manage your finances really well and make sure you're paying off all of your creditors during that time. That company will make decisions on whether to lend you money, not on how you look, not on what your lifestyle's about, not on what your kind of fun circumstances are, but what are your financial circumstances are, whether you're keeping debt paid, whether you're up to date with everything, whether you're paying, whether you've got any black marks on your file like a bankruptcy. So that's the last exercise, and hopefully bringing everything together and tying everything together why we're here in the first place.
Right. I think the value that it adds by actually enabling the students to interact with business people and giving them the opportunity to ask questions and to actually just kind of envision themselves in a few years' time and actually learn from other people's experiences other than just seeing the same faces every day. I think it's invaluable.
It's actually quite easy to become bankrupt. So I was quite shocked.
That the kids are absolutely fantastic. It's really not as scary a place as you think it's going to be. And they've really been engaged in the session.
Enabled everyone in the classroom, all different types of learning styles, to be able to participate and be successful in the lesson.
And actually, they're probably the first time that they're going to hear about this. So what you're going to tell them is going to be really important to them.
Just learn to spend your money well and organise how you spend it. Work it out, what you're going to spend, how much you earn. Work out what you're going to spend it on and how much.
It's been a really useful session.